So, GameStop is following in the lead of Strategy, previously MicroStrategy, which first added Bitcoin to its treasury in August 2020. As of December 2024, Strategy's stock has gained 3,200% since adopting its crypto strategy. Metaplanet, a Japanese company with plans to buy 21,000 Bitcoin by 2026, saw its stock price rise 4,800% since announcing the move. Now, granted, these guys did these moves way earlier in the market cycle. In fact, um, MicroStrategy did this in August 2020. So the year before the big bull run year. So they've had a lot longer time period for this. And then Metaplanet timed it near perfection. So, it's a bit later in the cycle, I think, for companies like this to do it, but it's hard to time that. So it makes sense to start easing in. Any case, and then Metaplanet attracted a significant number of new investors with its market cap rising by 6,300%. This company really wasn't doing a whole lot. And then they just said, you know what, let's just do let's take all of our cash on the balance sheet and just dump it into Bitcoin. And then suddenly the market loved that. They just started running. And then Semler Scientific also saw a spike in its share price after announcing plans to purchase Bitcoin. So far, I mean, really, there hasn't been a company who has followed this strategy that has not seen a massive rise in their stock price. So it's worth mentioning. So let's talk about possible expectations. There's so much in the air right now that we just don't know because of Trump's crazy tariff stuff, which I've talked about a bit over the last couple of calls. Uh, it entirely just depends on what's going to happen there, really. I think that's what's driving the market and the uncertainty right now. I think that post Trump getting elected was all euphoria in a good way. There's a lot of possibility there, and it's been a big, cold water to the face after him going on an entire tariff war against the rest of the world. That has tamped down people's risk appetites, and it has tamped down people's expectations of the crypto bull run specifically. So, if tomorrow Trump just said, you know what, we're done, we're scrapping the tariffs, he would never say this, I'm wrong, but essentially, if he found some graceful way to exit or massively reduce those, I think we go flying. But anyway, in the meanwhile, where we are now is Bitcoin price prediction markets bet that Bitcoin won't go higher than 138 grand this year. That doesn't mean that this has to be the final year. It just entirely depends on what's going on in the greater macroeconomic cycle. Frankly, if we only got to 138,000 as a top, frankly, the odds of like an 80% correction are near zero, in my opinion. Because the only reason we get these monster, huge pullbacks in bear markets is because we have monster gains where people are taking massive profits, right? But if it's a very conservative run up, that doesn't mean this has to be the top, but if that's the case, I think we just have like a minor, relatively minor, quote unquote, pullback, rather than like a full fledged super giant mega bear market because it just didn't get ultra frothy out of control. So anyway, data covering bets on prediction market prediction service. Polymarket suggests Bitcoin/USD could still gain around 60% from current levels just this year. That doesn't mean it has to be the top, just means in 2025. So conservative users cap the Bitcoin price upside at 60%. Bitcoin bull market predictions have taken a beating this quarter thanks to multiple setbacks impacting crypto in the wider risk asset spectrum. By the way, this also includes stocks, right? Nothing is immune from Trump's crazy tariff war. So the great thing about the analysis is that it not only provides a market sentiment score like fear and greed index. This is key, guys. It also attaches to it the expected price target of both bearish and bullish scenarios. And remember, these are betting markets. These are putting real money where their mouth is, right? So Polymarket predictions targets probability for 2025. And you can see that in the bear category, 67% adjusted probability of a bear market at 70 grand price target. 67%, about equal. I think we'll hit 110 and reclaim that. 48% down to 120, 39%, 130, so on and so forth. So the expected bear market target, like if we went into a full-fledged bear market, they think the bottom would be 59 grand. If we had a full bull market, they expect it to be 138, 617, right? So the 138K Bitcoin price target may not seem bullish to most Bitcoiners who are accustomed to hearing hyperbolic valuations. We're going to $1 million this year, that kind of thing. However, the market remains conservative as it recovers from Trump tariff uncertainty. And markets don't like uncertainty, right? They really don't. On fellow prediction market site Kalshi, which is US based only for US investors, whereas Polymarket is banned for US people, at least for now, the one average Bitcoin price target stands at 122,000. So not even that much higher. So you can see right now we stand at around 122. Right before, right after the election, it went from like 130 to about 155, the expectation on call sheet of where the top would be. And then ever since Trump's tariff war, it's just ground all the way down. So again, this could massively change. If suddenly the tariff craziness resolves, this number spikes, especially because this is fascinating because people are putting real money down on this. So it's not like they're just throwing out hyperbolic predictions, because if they're wrong, they lose money. Bitcoin support failure remains a risk. These include the area of old all-time highs at roughly, let's call it 74,000, and the 2021 peak at 69,000. So earlier this month, a historically accurate forecasting tool, which its creator describes as showing where Bitcoin won't be in the future, gave a 95% chance of $69,000 holding. So if we went down and went back down to that level, that would put us at old previous support, which was 2021 support. Earlier this month, a historically accurately, oh yeah, I just read that. So in his latest update, popular trader Askel Kibar stressed that the yearly average of 76,000 must stay in place, which, as you can see, we had this 360-day average moving target, or moving average, and you can see that every time we've gone down, we've managed to, relatively speaking, hold it over a longer time horizon. In fact, we tapped it right here. That's whatever we hit, 76.8 or 76.7, whatever that number was. We tapped that and then held the support. You can see these wicks have gone through it. Most of the daily candles, September aside, because we're going right through election scariness, if you will, closed underneath that. So far, we've held that support. So let's continue on here. Bitcoin must break this level in order to resume the bull market. And guys, I'm talking about Bitcoin because, at least with my portfolio and what I've always recommended, is your core holdings should be Bitcoin. It's not going to have like the 50x return possibility of some tiny little shitcoin, but you also don't have the same risk profile. And Bitcoin really is a stand-in for the overall crypto market. So I will go into specific alt stuff soon, but the reason I always talk mostly about Bitcoin is Bitcoin drives the whole thing, right? So it must break this level to resume the bull market, as $2.4 billion in Bitcoin leaves exchanges. This is a good thing, guys. If people are going to buy short-term Bitcoin, they don't remove that Bitcoin to their own wallet. They just keep it on the exchange and get in and out and trade it. So over 27,740 Bitcoin worth 2.4 billion were withdrawn from exchanges on March 25th, the highest daily outflow since July 31st of 2024, which is a big deal. So Bitcoin exchange flows hit a 7-month high. In fact, check this out. The red is outflows, green is inflows. And you can see that we have this huge removal of Bitcoin. Massive, actually. Like one of the largest we've seen since, well, last July. So yeah, there we go. It's so interesting to see this chart, right? Like you can see here, the bottom was in relatively speaking July, and right after that huge drop down there, you see like the next day, tons of people sent in Bitcoin to sell it, right? And sure enough, we had that Bitcoin come in, the last little push down on August 5th. That's the big sell down right before that, and then that, sure enough, that leads the that's the bottom. So anytime we see these big giant sell downs, the market usually lifts up afterwards. Big giant sell down, market lifts up afterwards. Big giant sell down. So I think that, or excuse me, coins leaving exchanges usually is indicative of number go up. So a closer look at the data reveals that a considerable chunk of those withdrawals was made by whales, or entities holding at least 1,000 Bitcoin, who withdrew more than 11,574 Bitcoin, worth about $1 billion from exchanges on March 25th. So where does the rubber meet the road here? It's that high Bitcoin outflows from exchanges and whale withdrawals reduce sell pressure, right? Because in order to sell it, they have to get it back on the exchange, often signaling accumulation and bullish sentiment, which can drive prices up. Additionally, blockchain analytics firm Arkham Intelligence noted that, quote, a billionaire Bitcoin whale added 2,400 Bitcoin worth over $200 million on March 24th. Despite some selling in February, the whale now holds over 15,000 Bitcoin. That's just bonkers. It's just so fun that we don't know who these people are, right? But unlike a lot of the dark pools that happen with stock trading, you can see all of this because the blockchain is transparent. Another side of major investors buying Bitcoin again is the continuation of capital flows into spot Bitcoin traded ETFs. Since March 14th, spot Bitcoin ETFs have seen inflows for nearly 8 days, because really, since the beginning of the year, when Trump took the inauguration and started going on his tariff craziness, they've just been kind of bleeding, right? They've been bleeding out. I think at the worst we ever saw was it was a 1-week streak of outflows in which we had, I think, was it $1 trillion leaving in one day? That was like the peak bottom, as everybody panic sold and that was it. So this is the first streak of this length in 2025. Check this out as far as the outflows go. This is wild. So here we are in, we've seen some in, some out, but really it's from February 10th through March 13th. There we go, a little over a month. It's just been like all outflows. There's been like 2 minor days where a teeny amount came in, but like all the money is left. And then boom, since then, March 14th, the low, we now see a consistent increase back in ETF flows. So that's really good. That's what we want to see, increased flows in. So Bitcoin price faces overhead resistance from the 20 weekly exponential moving average, currently 88,682. This chart shows that breaching that has often preceded big rallies in Bitcoin price. So anytime we've gotten above this orange line, finally, we've dipped underneath it, right? Just barely under here. It's bearish, 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 bearish. And then boom, January 2023, we flip bullish. We cross over it. We stay above it. We stay above it. We briefly go under it, 2023. We stay above it. We stay above it. Last summer, slightly bearish. We go underneath it. Boom, we go up. Under here, we go bearish. And then if we can break above this, we go back over 100K, in my opinion. So the October 2023, when it crossed above it, it rallied 170% from 27 grand up to new or near all-time highs of 73,000. Or well, yeah, it was a new high. And then also same thing when we rose above the 20-week in September 2024, that led to a 77% rally from 60 to 108,000. So very, very, it says, quote, most important level for Bitcoin right now. So we'd really like to see us gain that, break that 88,700 level, and then just go flying after that. So we could just kind of go chopping around here for a little while, but we'll see.
Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.